Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. I got this email from Christian Zybarth, November 23rd, 2022. So this time we're going even farther back in time in my inbox. Again, I just did a search for the word quote, and I'm not favoring Christian Zybarth. He just sent me a lot of good stuff. And I saw the subject line, the land of the city of Enoch / Gulf of Mexico. This is one that I've needed to take down for a long time and put on my spreadsheets. And so I finally have. Christian, your email was not in vain. So he says, "Hi, Jared. Janet and I just finished watching your most recent video." That's as of November 23rd, 2022. Found one of the quotes about the actual land of the city of Enoch being lifted up from the earth. Of course, there's the usual disclaimer that it's understood that it's a third-hand account. It was related long after Joseph Smith passed. I do kind of feel like Wilford Woodruff writing down what Brigham Young said, Joseph Smith said, is pretty reliable. But there's always the thing about how we have to take the information we have now and await further light and knowledge. I do kind of think one way on this, but I'm not rabid enough about it to say other people have to think the same way. Christian. Well, thank you, Christian, for the email. Yes. So there's been this thing that I've been trying to get to the bottom of, this question of when the city of Enoch was taken off the earth. You might think of it as, well, it says city. So that's like the houses, the buildings, the streets, the infrastructure. Is it that? Or is it simply that you had a righteous people and the individuals were translated and caught up and removed from the earth? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Now, I already have, I have one quote from Bruce R. McConkie that seems to contradict this point of view. And so I'm like Christian where I'm kind of like, I don't think I have a firm opinion about this. I could see it being either way. So we're gonna contrast the two quotes. Okay. So he put a screenshot right here. We're gonna go to the original source. We are going to the Wilford Woodruff papers. I've only come here maybe a time or two on the channel, and frankly, I think that I'm going to be coming here more often in the future. So, in case you don't know what this is similar to the Joseph Smith papers. If you don't know what those are, essentially you have all these transcriptions of talks or discourses by Joseph Smith that are in people's journals, or there's just different things that he is recorded to have said that have just been all over the place. And before the Joseph Smith papers, you would have some of the consolidated teachings of Joseph Smith in books like The Teachings of the Prophet Joseph Smith, which was compiled by Joseph Fielding Smith. But all these primary sources have just been just all over the place, in people's personal collections, or one thing over here, one thing over there. And so the church was able to put together this project, the Joseph Smith Papers Project, and get all those, or at least most of the, there might be more. I don't remember. I think I read something where they may not have everything. But they have a considerable amount of the primary sources now on the website, josephsmithpapers.org. And they're doing something similar with Wilford Woodruff. Not the church itself in this case. It says that, okay, so this is done by the Wilford Woodruff Papers Foundation. And it says, on Wilford Woodruff's 213th birthday, March 1st, 2020, with support from the Church History Department of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the foundation announced its mission in cooperation with the Wilford Woodruff Family Association. 1 year later, on March 1st, 2021, the foundation formally launched an open access website, wilfordwoodruffpapers.org, with the first group of transcribed documents. So I don't know the extent to which the Church History Department is supporting this, but it seems like you have these three main groups: the Wilford Woodruff Papers Foundation, the Church History Department, and then the Wilford Woodruff Family Association. Okay. And what's interesting is when you compare the two websites, the Joseph Smith Papers and the Wilford Woodruff Papers, it says here that there are more papers and documents with the Wilford Woodruff Papers. With Joseph Smith, it was 2,500 total documents. With Wilford Woodruff, it's 9,000. With Joseph Smith, it was 19,000 pages. With Wilford Woodruff, 35,000 pages. So there's, in terms of volume, there's more. So this is really exciting that these things are happening. I think that this by itself is a sign of the times, that you have the consolidation of these important documents that are now more easily accessed and searchable. Okay, so with that said, okay, we're looking at the journal of October 22nd, 1865 to December 31st, 1872. All right, we're going to June 20th, 1869. It was a Sunday. We met in the schoolhouse at 9 o'clock. Roll called of the School of the Prophets. Okay, so they had the School of the Prophets, and then later Wilford Woodruff dismissed. Met in the Bowery at 10 o'clock. And this is a location that keeps coming up as I read the Journal of Discourses. If you don't know what the Bowery is, and I didn't actually really know until today. The Bowery, here it is right here. This is Temple Square before the temple was constructed. You had, I guess, the original tabernacle, this building, and then you had this like outdoor Bowery where a lot of talks and stuff. It was also like an overflow, I guess. Here's like a modern day replica of it at the this is the site, or this is the place, park. And I had been to this place, but I didn't realize at the time what this was. I wasn't that interested in church history like I am now. So I remember visiting this replica. It's really cool. Yeah, this is the place, Heritage Park in Salt Lake. If you ever get a chance to go there, please do so. I wish I would have gone more, but it's really cool. So it was being, this discourse comes from this right here. Let me see if I can make that larger. This building right here, the Bowery. Okay. President Brigham Young spoke 1 hour and 15 minutes. He said, "When I come again to see you in this place, I shall want to see more improvements than there is now. I shall expect to see more of this land fenced up so that you can find your horses without going a whole day to find them as you do now. I expect to send many more south, and we shall send more here. I do not think there ever was a people on the earth who done as much as we have in 40 years. I like that he mentions 40 because I just did a video about that yesterday. We were talking about 40 in both my videos yesterday, actually. Okay, now here it is. It was the opinion of the prophet Joseph that the city of Enoch was in the Gulf of Mexico, and that Adam offered his sacrifice and built his first altar in Adam-on-Yaman, and the stones of his altar are there now to be seen." We're going to do a review on that, by the way, the altars at Adam-on-Yaman. The city of Enoch was taken up, but the city of Zion, which we shall build, will remain and will not be taken away as his city was. Noah was 120 years in building an ark. We have not been 40 years in building up Zion in our day and the kingdom of God on the earth. I have reflected a great deal upon this subject. I have labored to know how to build up the kingdom of God upon the earth. If I was to tell you what your duty is in this place, it would be to go into these canyons and get out the timber and lumber and build you good homes and make yourselves and families comfortable. All right, so he just kind of like randomly talks about this, that it was Joseph Smith's opinion. And the way that this is recorded by Wilford Woodruff, it does say his opinion. So I guess take that into account. But Brigham Young is reported as having said it was the opinion of Joseph Smith that the city of Enoch was in the Gulf of Mexico. So let's look at Google Earth really quick. And, I don't think that's too far-fetched. Now, this is a very large geographic area. It's larger than what's necessary for a city, but maybe for a small civilization, a city-state or something like that. Who knows? And for all we know, maybe it wasn't this entire area. Maybe just the land was, or there was like, there wasn't a gulf here, or there was more land, and then there was like a certain spot here that was not under the water that was taken. So I don't know. Now, I was just talking to Jonathan with the Haystack channel, and make sure to subscribe to him. This is him, the Haystack. He's been watching my channel since the very beginning. He always leaves very good comments. He's a very kind person. He has his channel. He talks about Second Coming stuff, so I'll put a link for his channel in the description box below. But he was telling me how in the Gulf of Mexico somewhere, there are like these, I think he was saying they were like pillars of salt, or like salt type structures. He's going to send me a follow-up email to kind of point it out. I don't know if like it's like something like this. I don't know. But he said that when you look at Google Earth, you can see it. So I'm not exactly sure what part here, but I'll take his word for it. And once he sends me that email, I may bring that up in a future video. But anyway, it's interesting, you know, because up here you have the land of New Jerusalem, right? You have the Kansas City area. Jackson County is identified as the place of the Garden of Eden. In our church, this is where the Garden of Eden is. And that's why the New Jerusalem is going to be built there, right? This is going to be one of two world headquarters. You have the city of Zion, aka New Jerusalem, that will be built here, the site of the Garden of Eden. If you go northeast just a little bit, you have Adam-on-Diamond. If I can find it. Yeah, here's Gallatin. There's Jameson. Okay, so you have Adam-on-Diamond. Here's the Valley of Adam-on right here. This is where Adam and Eve went when they were cast out of the Garden of Eden. And I don't know how long they lived there, maybe their whole lives, but this is where they lived. And for all intents and purposes, aside from the Garden of Eden itself, before they were cast out, this is essentially, unless more is revealed, it seems that this would have been like the first like temple site, so to speak. The reason why I say that is because it was Adam and Eve, the first people, and there were altars that were built here. And so this was like even though there wasn't like a stone structure that we know of, there were the altars made out of stone, and that's a temple thing, right? So, and they refer to, like, the people around there refer to this area, Adam-on-Diamond, as like the outdoor, I think like the garden temple. That's what Tamara told me. She lives just down the street from here. We stayed at her house and she took us to see the sites, but she said that this is like what they refer to as the garden temple, Adam-on-Diamond. So far west is not too far from here. That's where Cain killed Abel. I still need to make a video about that, but you can find that in David O. McKay's diaries. But anyway, so here you have this area, right? Our first home, the home of Adam and Eve, New Jerusalem. And so, yeah, maybe Enoch, he set up his city, his people, his civilization down here, and maybe it was this entire piece of land that was taken up. It could be. So I'm going to take that down, and I have it under, it's currently on row 118, Enoch, city of Enoch, land or no land. So in contrast to that, you have this statement from Bruce R. McConkie. This is in the September 1977 Liahona. I don't think that this was in the Ensign, just in the Liahona. The name of the article is Building Zion. And he says, after the Lord's people were translated, for it was people who were caught up into heaven, not brick and mortar and stone, for there are better homes already in heaven than men can build on earth. After these righteous saints went to dwell beyond the veil, others, being converted and desiring righteousness, looked for a city which hath foundation, whose builder and maker is God, and they too were caught up by the powers of heaven into Zion. Okay, so he would seem to indicate that no, it was not land, it was just simply the people that were caught up. I'm just, in my mind, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I think I might lean a little bit more toward it was just people, simply because this is more recent, and I go with what's more recent because over time, the Lord reveals things line upon line, precept upon precept. So things get clearer the more you go into the future, because more and more and more is revealed. And it may be revealed officially and, said in general conference or whatever, or it may not. So I don't really know, but I'm not going to take one stance, just like Christian Zybarth. I don't think I'm going to die on this hill for either one of these. I'm just going to be like, okay, well, it could be either one. I guess we'll find out when the city of Enoch comes back. If the city of Enoch comes back and it's a gigantic, if it's like a gigantic piece of earth that comes back to Earth, then that'll be pretty incredible. That's going to be quite the sight. Maybe that's what this asteroid that's coming. When is it coming? I wasn't thinking about talking about this. I have a spreadsheet. For comets, asteroids, and meteors. It's called, signs, comets, meteors, and asteroids. So I'm just keeping track of these because Joseph Smith said that the sign of the Son of Man would look to the world, to scientists. It would look like some natural phenomena, like a comet or a planet. And we have a sizable asteroid that's coming in 2029. Here it is. April 13th, 2029, the asteroid known as Apophis, or asteroid 99942, is going to make its closest approach to Earth. Is this actually the city of Enoch? Maybe. Yeah, it could be. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's coming 2029, or if it accelerates, then maybe it'll come sooner. Don't know, but it just kind of makes me think of this. So maybe that's what'll happen, and it'll just be like this huge event, or maybe it'll just be the people, and we'll meet with them when we're caught up, along with the resurrected saints. It's the righteous resurrected saints and those that are righteous on the earth that are caught up to meet Christ when he comes. And of course, the city of Enoch will be there because it's going to be all righteous saints from all previous ages that are resurrected. So anyway, it's just interesting to think about. And now I have it. If you guys have anything else that would indicate if the city of Enoch is land or if it's just people, if you have anything else, I'm talking about authoritative sources, like statements from prophets, apostles, general authorities, then please send it my way. Or scriptures, but I don't think there's any scriptures that specifically that really specify this. Okay. I also, just because it's related, and I've always liked this quote. This is also from Bruce R. McConkie. It's the very same article, Building Zion. He says, so now we're talking about stakes. A stake has geographical boundaries. To create a stake is like founding a city of holiness. Now, city of holiness, that's one of the names of the city of Enoch. Just like how God the Father is man of holiness, you have city of holiness. And so it's just another title for his people, for that city of holiness. He continues, every stake on earth is the gathering place for the lost sheep of Israel who live in its area. Dang, there's another one where he says everywhere that you build you know what? Let me see if I can find it. I may have to consolidate a couple rows here. I'm going to go to stakes. No, it's not there. There's one where he basically says that every stake is a new Jerusalem and every stake is a city of holiness. I'll have to do that later. Okay, and then lastly, I want to talk about the altars at Adamon because that was mentioned in this quote that we just read. And I don't know, this is just, maybe it's because I went to the Kirtland Temple earlier this year, but this is I just really like this idea. Okay, so Heber C. Kimball, first counselor in the first presidency. This is in a book called Life of Heber C. Kimball, compiled by Orson F. Whitney, 1888. Okay, what followed, Heber's record relates. After hearing of the mobbing, burning, and robbing in Gallatin, Davies County, and the region round about, the brethren of Caldwell went directly to Adam-ondi-Ahman. And by the way, I copied it over just how it's written. So if there's any mistakes, then that's why. Which is on the west fork of Grand River. Thomas B. Marsh, David W. Panton, Brigham Young, myself, Parley P. Pratt, and John Taylor amongst the number. When we arrived there, we found the prophet Joseph, Hiram Smith, and Sidney Rigdon, with hundreds of others of the saints preparing to defend themselves from the mob who were threatening the destruction of our people. Men, women, and children were fleeing to that place for safety from every direction. Their houses and property were burnt, and they had to flee half naked, crying, and frightened nigh unto death to save their lives. While there, at Adam-ondi-Ahman, we laid out a city on a high elevated piece of land, and we set the stakes for the four corners of a temple block. I just want to point out, it's a temple block. It's not like the cornerstones of a temple. Those have not been laid, but they had, platted out the city and set the stakes for the block, just like Temple Square, for the temple that would have been at Adam-ondi-Ahman. Okay, so set the stakes for the four corners of a temple block, which was dedicated. Brother Brigham Young being mouth. There were from 3 to 500 men present on the occasion under arms. This elevated spot was probably from 250 to 500 feet above the level of Grand River, so that one could look east, west, north, or south as far as the eye could reach. It was one of the most beautiful places I ever beheld. The prophet Joseph called upon Brother Brigham, myself, and others, saying, "Brethren, come, go along with me, and I will show you something." He led us a short distance to a place where were ruins of 3 altars built of stone, one above the other, and one standing a little back of the other, like unto the pulpits in the Kirtland Temple, representing the order of 3 grades of priesthood. So let me just show you a visual of that. This is a picture I took when I took the tour of the Kirtland Temple, April 8th, the day of the eclipse. So again, if you didn't know, or if you're new to my channel, these pulpits are not just like arbitrary. It's not just like, somebody who's like, oh, that would look good, let's design it like that. No, it would seem that this was inspired and patterned after Adam's altar for sacrifice. So when Christ came, what was it again? It was like a week. Yeah, it was 7 days after the temple was dedicated. That's when Christ and Moses and Elijah and Elias came. When Christ was standing on the pulpits, he was standing on something that represented an altar. And of course, an altar points to Christ because he's the sacrifice, right? He's the Paschal Lamb. He's the ultimate sacrifice. So he was like standing on this thing that represents an altar when he spoke with Joseph Smith. This is where he appeared. So I think that's pretty incredible. All right, going back to this though. There, said Joseph, is the place where Adam offered up sacrifice after he was cast out of the garden. The altar stood at the highest point of the bluff. I went and examined the place several times while I remained there. Now, I don't know what happened to this altar. I talked to Tamara about it. She said that it may have been like buried, or it may have been removed or something like that. So I don't know. It doesn't seem that it's there today. If it is, it's probably buried or something like that. But here it is again. Here's Adam-ondi-Ahman. You have Tower Hill in this area right here, just north of the valley. This is the valley, and this is Grand River that we just read about. And then Spring Hill's like in this area. So this area right here is like where the city of Adam-ondi-Ahman would have been built. I don't know if they would have named the city Adam-ondi-Ahman, but there would have been a temple there, and I can only assume that there will be in the future. And that's going to be exciting to see. I cannot wait to see that. That will be incredible. That'll be really sacred. It's going to be not too far from, like I said, potentially the first temple space after the Garden of Eden. That would be a very, very, very special temple, you guys. Okay, and then to wrap this up, this is David O. McKay, president of the church. This is in the University of Virginia's, like, they have a Mormon studies program, and they have like his diaries, and so this is where I found this. Okay, this is when he went to go see the Missouri sites. Okay, at Adamonte-Yaman, leaving Gallatin, we traveled north on Highway 13 to the highway marker pointing the direction to Adamonte-Yaman, a turnoff I had taken many times before. Now, this is Alvin R. Dyer. He was a member of the First Presidency, so this is him writing this down and documenting this, okay? Crossing over the railroad tracks, we were on a gravel road leading west. This is the road that the church assisted with the cost of grading and graveling during the time that President Dyer presided over the Central States mission. Passing Dustman's Diamond Farms, we crossed over a creek bed bridge and ascended the hill on a narrow road to Tower Hill. The party stopped here, and President McKay, President Smith, that's Joseph Fielding Smith, and the rest of us got out of the cars and stood close to the spot of the ruins of the old Nephite and Adamic altar of prayer. Elder Dyer narrated some of the events of historic significance that transpired at this place, which concerned the many visits of the prophet Joseph Smith and of his designating the altars and how they were used by the ancients. Elder Dyer identified the two pieces of property totaling 140 acres that options to buy had been obtained from Dustman by the church. The one piece contained the bluff area of Spring Hill, where once many of the homes of Adamonte-Yaman were erected, including also the ruins of the storehouse located in the center block of this old city, together with the temple site and the altar site where sacrifice was offered by Adam. President McKay returned to sit in his car, where a U.S. engineer's map was shown to him, which identified there on the spot the location of the Pattonsburg Dam in the conservation pool or reservoir it would create. So there was like this potential problem where a dam would have like flooded the area. Elder Dyer pointed to the site to the east of Tower Hill where the dam was originally planned for erection in relation to the changed location about 1 mile up Grand River to the west and north to show the distance actually affected in the relocation of the dam. To get a better feel of the area, the car with President McKay and President Smith was driven down the narrow cobble-strewn road from Tower Hill and passing the remains of Lyman White's home into the large valley of Adamonte-Yaman. The car was stopped at the base of the bluff where the north end of the dam axis will anchor. It was clearly seen at this point how the historic area of Spring Hill of Adamonte-Yaman had been preserved from inundation by the relocation of the dam site. The high point of Spring Hill was pointed out to the president. It is upon this high part of the bluff where the temple site was dedicated, and near to this is the site of the altar of Adam. President McKay remarked that all this was most important land in a very sacred place. All right, so that's it. That's what I have for this one. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Which way do you think? Do you think that it was the Gulf of Mexico, like this entire piece of land? Do you think it was like a smaller piece of land because maybe the geography was different back then? Or do you think it's just the people of the city that were righteous and caught up, and it's just nothing more than that? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.